then we've got to pander harder!
South Park is back and as satirical, topical, and hilarious as ever, with its new Panderverse special. This special is somewhat significant not only for including a wide cast of characters from South Park's own universe, but also for crossing into the multiverse to meet alternate versions of them, as lame as Kyle thinks that is.
You cow!
Each universe may have their own way of doing things, but regardless, how do all the characters from either dimension rank against each other on the morality spectrum? Welcome to Wicked Binge. This is South Park joining the Panderverse characters good to evil. And for sake of clarity, in our rankings today we'll be referring to the characters from the regular South Park universe by their names, and characters from their alternate dimension as their Panderverse versions, like Cartman and Panderverse Cartman, for example. As usual, we'll be starting with our most noble character and working our way down to the most evil. These characters are the good. Starting out, the gold medal of good is going to Leanne Cartman. While she doesn't appear in the special much, we can clearly see Leanne has retained the development of becoming a better mother in recent years. She still loves Eric very much and will go to his room to comfort him whenever he wakes up with a nightmare. However, when Eric starts becoming unreasonable by asking her to check in his closet for Kathleen Kennedy, Leanne will put her foot down and tell him to go back to bed.
Can you check the closet?
Eric, enough!
She's become one of our favorite characters in South Park's recent seasons, and we're happy to see her improving so much both as a mother and as a person. The silver medal of good has to be split between Stan and Kyle. In many cases throughout South Park's history, Stan and Kyle have acted as the mouthpiece for the show's creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. This new special falls in line with that trend, particularly in the way the boys talk about modern Hollywood cliches. Particularly, Stan and Kyle show a disinterest in the idea of a multiverse as they consider it to be lazy and stupid.
Everyone's sick of the stupid multiverse, Cartman.
They also refuse to accept the fact that Cartman was replaced by a black woman, not for any prejudice, but because they see it as nonsensical and silly. This is actually a case where Stan, and especially Kyle, are portrayed as quite negative throughout the entire special, but for reasons that many would consider to be legitimate. As usual, they're the voice of reason within a story dealing with extremes,
and if you boys don't think Eric can be a black woman, then maybe the problem is you.
Which we feel is more than enough reason to give them the silver medal. Their only real flaw in this special is conspiring to have Clyde fart on Tammy Mullins. But you know, they're in 4th grade, so it is forgivable. And we can't forget about the often forgotten 4th main character, Kenny, who takes the bronze medal of good in this special. While not as vocal as Stan or Kyle, Kenny seems to share much of the same feelings on multiple universes as his friends, deeming them as stupid and lazy. He does seem a little more accepting of Panderverse Cartman though, even conceding that Kyle's mom is still a B-word in this universe so that she understands. But this special also displays one of Kenny's less favorable traits, that being his perverted nature. While informing Tammy Mullins about Clyde's plan to fart on her may seem like a good deed, Kenny admits the reason he did that is because she has, quote, sweet knockers. Stan and Kyle believe Kenny's actually in love with her and he's just saying that to be cool, and while that may be the case, we also know Kenny can get pretty inappropriate. His explicit side hasn't been explored in a while, so we're happy to give him the Lust Medal for reverting back to that trait. Even so, he's still a good kid at heart and really doesn't care about getting Panderverse Cartman back to where she belongs. And with the good section wrapped up, we now move into more neutral territory. These characters fall in the gray area. Let's wrap up the main squad and talk about Eric Cartman first. And we know what you're probably thinking. Really? Cartman is this close to the good section? Well, hear us out. Cartman definitely portrays a lot of his angry, bratty behavior here, but he doesn't really do anything that bad since he's too preoccupied with navigating through an alternate universe. He spends most of the special in a paranoid state and accurately warning everyone about a disruption in the multiverse.
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!
As stupid as that may seem. While in Dimension 216B, Cartman is simply looking to find a way home when he meets Kathleen Kennedy, who has also crossed over. After Cartman has a conversation with her, he realizes it was wrong to send her so many letters complaining about woke stuff, as that's just as lame and lazy as the products she produces. This is a rare moment of self-reflection for Cartman wherein he actually apologizes and comes around to liking Kathleen Kennedy.
I don't think I've ever said this before in my life, but I'm sorry.
We have no doubt that Cartman will go back to being the awful kid we know and love, but in this case, we're surprised to say he comes off as quite sympathetic. We still can't put him in the good section though, as writing 12,000 to 13,000 letters a day, calling Kathleen Kennedy the C word is a bit much. For similar reasons, our next spot is going to Kathleen Kennedy. Prior to the events of the special, Kathleen Kennedy was using the Panderstone to create ideas for new Disney movies and TV shows. While she could have come up with ideas herself or even used AI, Kennedy decided to take this route as it was much easier. However, overuse of the Panderstone created a disruption, which caused Kathleen Kennedy from Dimension 216B to cross over into this universe and switch positions. While we can't condone Kathleen Kennedy's actions, especially when it was the catalyst for everything that happened afterwards, her conversation with Cartman also allows her to see the error in her ways. Cartman and Kathleen Kennedy are basically mirror images of each other in this special, if not reality, except representing the opposite sides of each extreme. If Cartman can forgive them, so can we. Although we will award Kathleen Kennedy with the Sloth Medal due to her lazy utilization of the Panderstone. And rounding out our gray area is Randy Marsh. Really, you could fit most of the adults in South Park into this spot, as pretty much all of them follow Randy's lead. When Randy can't get a handyman to fix his oven door, he goes to Home Depot to look for an immigrant he can underpay.
You mean like those broke-ass illegal immigrants down at Home Depot?
None are available, so Randy decides the best course of action is to protest. This is a classic South Park storyline where all the adults blame everything but themselves, taking it out on the handymen, college, billionaires, Kathleen Kennedy, whatever scapegoat they can find.
Everything is Kathleen Kennedy's fault!
We're definitely going to give Randy the Wrath Medal due to his vindictive nature and ability to rile everyone up. The one thing that helps Randy avoid being placed in the bad section is his willingness to travel across universes in order to turn things back to normal. We're not sure if he necessarily did the right thing by stealing handymen from other universes, but he did succeed and save the day, so we'll give him some props. And with the gray area wrapped up, we now move into the bad and evil section. Not sure what exactly to write here, so let's take out our phones and call the handymen. There are multiple handymen throughout the episode, but we're ranking them together since they act very similarly. Since nobody knows how to perform household tasks anymore, everyone relies on handymen to do any work that can be done without the use of AI. This causes all the handymen in the world to become rich and buy expensive clothes, cars, and even spaceships. That's all well and good, except the handymen usually never fix the job and instead say they need to come back after getting something at Home Depot. Due to the overwhelming demand, the handymen usually go for whoever's paying them the most at that time, canceling any other pre-existing appointment. In the end, Randy recruits a slew of handymen from alternate universes to restore balance. But their shady business practices are what land them at the top of our bad section. They're not the only ones driven by money though, which is why the Bronze Medal of Evil is going to Bob Iger. While Kathleen Kennedy was the one to abuse the Panderstone to such an extent, Bob Iger is the one who showed it to her in the first place, so he's partially to blame. Iger also didn't care about the drop in Disney's quality until it also resulted in a drop in their revenue, thus making him go into damage control. Because every decision his character makes is based upon profit instead of artistic merit. Pretty much every negative trait that Kathleen Kennedy displayed also applies to Bob Iger, except he didn't end up learning his lesson like she did. When Kennedy states this is going to be a new era for Disney where they stop being so woke, Iger dismissively agrees, implying he's going to have the cycle continue. I guess we'll see for sure when Snow White, the next season of South Park comes out. The Silver Medal of Evil is awarded to Panderverse Cartman. While we ended up seeing many of the other South Park characters in Dimension 216B, we aren't ranking most of them on this list as only a few were that relevant to the plot. Panderverse Cartman, on the other hand, gets plenty of screen time and development for us to understand where she's coming from. Essentially, Panderverse Cartman crosses over, but Stan, Kyle, and Kenny refuse to take her seriously until she goes to PC Principal.
There's a diverse female where Cartman used to be, and you don't like that.
After this, she blackmails Kyle into using his mom's credit card to set up a computer. The boys believed she was doing this to find a way back to her dimension, when in reality she was looking for a viable way to play Baldur's Gate 3, which is a very, very Cartman move. If anything, Panderverse Cartman is acting much more like Eric's normal self in this episode than Cartman is, hence her much lower ranking.
Wow, it really is Cartman.
We will award her with the Darwin Medal since she stupidly believed that her save file could be transferred between universes, which is the true incident that makes her want to go home. We'll also throw the gluttony medal in there as well, as she ends up killing Panderverse Kenny with her weight by landing on him, or her. Finally, the gold medal of evil has to go to Panderverse Kathleen Kennedy. If there's any character in the special we could describe as the true villain, Panderverse Kathleen Kennedy is her. Resembling Cartman in drag, which is most likely a complete coincidence for sure, Panderverse Kennedy essentially crosses over into our universe in order to make it more like her own, via the use of Bob Iger and the Disney company. The way she opts to do this is by putting a gay female in everything,
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
which ruins the projects that the Disney company is producing. Panderverse Kennedy is very short-tempered, demanding, and egotistical, not listening to a single bit of feedback from anyone around her. We have to give her the Pride Medal as she clearly sees her way as the right way, and anyone who disagrees even remotely is disregarded. Panderverse Kennedy represents all the aspects of Cartman and Kathleen Kennedy on their worst days, making her the perfect choice for the gold medal of evil.